it's Samantha from Scrapmaster's Paradise, and welcome to another Learning Copics with MarkerPOP video. And today I want to talk about colorless blending. I'm going to be using this stamp. It's Olivia's Brella from CC Designs rubber stamps. It's just a rubber stamp and I trimmed around the edges. I'm going to be using this and I'm going to show you a colorless blender technique that you can use. The colorless blender is number 0 on the chart and they're just filled with colorless blender, and this doesn't actually do blending, it actually pushes the color away. So it really is like almost like an eraser. It just pushes the color away. It's great for when you make mistakes and color outside the lines a bit. You can push the color back inside the lines. I've got some other colorless blender videos. I will have a link down there to those. But for this video, I'm going to show you a technique where you can use this colorless blender to add texture to your coloring. Okay, so now I'm going to color this umbrella. I decided to pick out 3 colors because when I was looking at the colors, YR04 was not quite as dark as I wanted. So I'm going to mix in some of this YR07 and I'm going to show you a cool palette blending technique. I've got my acrylic block here that I used for stamping. So I'm going to keep that handy here. And so I've got YR02, YR04, and YR07, and there's a big jump between the 04 and the 07. So that's why we're going to do a quick palette technique. But first I'm going to lay down my YR02, and when I'm coloring this, I'm going to leave the middle of each of these panels a little bit lighter because where the wires are, the umbrella actually puckers in, so I'm going to leave that part, the darkest part, near those edges. I'm going to do one panel at a time. Got my YR02 down, and here is the YR04. I'm just using some small flicking strokes. And then YR02 to blend that out. Alright, and here is where the palette technique comes in. I've got my acrylic block here, and I'm going to take my YR07 and just lay out some color on that block. You can see it there. It's just on my block. You're going to need some sort of non-porous surface like a block or a piece of acetate. Okay, so there's my picture, there's my ink, and I'm going to use my YR04 to pick that up. Just pick it up on the end of my brush. It won't hurt your other brush. I'm going to use that for blending. Pick up a little bit more. I'm just doing flicking strokes. You can see that's a little bit darker than the actual YR04. And when you're done, you can just use your marker and clean off your tip. Just use it a little bit and you'll clean off that other ink color and it'll be just as good as new. This is actually the second time I've done this. I'm having super bad bleeding with these colors. I don't know if these markers are just super juicy or what, but I'm going to have 2 techniques for you guys today. So that's technique number 1, and then the technique number 2 is I'm going to show you how to fix some of these mistakes the cheater way. So I'm going to go ahead and color the rest of this up. And now you can just clean this off with some rubbing alcohol, just wipe down your block. All right, so I had some heavy bleeding, so I didn't really pay attention to going outside the lines on this last one, but you can see the bleeding just went way further. Of course, when I first noticed the bleeding, I could just start over from scratch on another image, but I want to go ahead and save this since I went ahead and colored all of it. I don't want to waste it. What you can do is you can just use your scissors and cut around this, or use an X-Acto knife and cut around this right on the line, and then paper piece it over a new example. So what I would probably do first, before I paper pieced this onto the new image, was color the rest of this image to make sure I liked it. So that way I don't have to worry about messing up the rest of the image when I already have my umbrella glued down. So that is a quick, easy way you can salvage what you're working on. Now I'm just going to zoom back in and we're going to do our colorless blender technique on this umbrella image. So I've got my colorless blender here. Like I said before, the colorless blender pushes out the color. I'm going to use that to my advantage and make polka dots on this umbrella. So I'm just going to use the tip of my colorless blender and make little dots. I'm going over them a couple of times just to push out that color. You can already see the color changing up here with those first spots. I'm just going to go over the whole thing the same way. And if you don't like the color that they are, you can always just go back over the same dots. You can use this technique to make any design on this. You know, you could do stripes, you could do chevrons, you could do circles. Here, of course, we're doing polka dots, but you can really do whatever you want. You could do doodles. This technique is so neat because you can add lots and lots of texture. So there are my cute little polka dots. I could go back over them and make them a little bit more noticeable. And the more the colorless blender dries, the more pronounced they'll look. Like these ones are starting to look brighter than some of these other ones that haven't yet dried. So there's just a quick and easy way to get some texture on your Copic coloring. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I gave you some tips and tricks along the way before we got to the Copic colorless blender technique. So I hope that you guys got a lot out of this video. As you can see, you know, every image doesn't turn out perfectly. You saw my ink just bled all over the place for these particular colors, and there's easy ways to fix that. I'm actually really glad that we had some technical difficulties so that I could share some more techniques with you guys. So please give it a thumbs up, be sure to subscribe to this channel, and make sure you check out the MarkerPOP blog. It's updated daily with awesome inspiration from the rest of the design team members, and it's just absolutely a fabulous Copic resource for you guys. So I'll have the link to that down below for you guys, and I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye!